tobacco. We do have some members of the community here tonight, and I know that Trisha Zuko, welcome Trisha Zuko, she's our SRO officer from school, is going to share some information that she has shared with the school and the school board regarding the issues of vaping and such use at school. Hi. Thank you for coming, Trisha.
Thanks. So I'm the school resource officer at Mount Everett and Undermountain. And I've been there now, I haven't been there too long. February 1st will be my 1-year anniversary. So part of my job there is observing the students on a daily basis. You'll hear police officers refer to themselves as trained observers. So when it seems like I'm just walking around, we're taking in a lot of data. I've learned some song lyrics, I've learned how to floss, I've learned lots of stuff. I've learned some bad stuff too, and part of the job can be a little depressing. I've learned that vaping, we've heard that it's an epidemic, and it's been one of the largest problems at Mount Everett. It covers the spectrum of artists, scholars, athletes. It's happening before and after sports. It's happening on school buses. It's happening on the athletic buses. It's happening at home. I'm getting reports from students, parents, teachers, and the problem is the difference between smoking cigarettes and the vaping. It's very hard to detect the old, plumes of cigarette smoke and the burnt paper and tobacco that you can, catch kids smoking in the bathroom in a cloud of smoke. That's not the case anymore. So everyone's saying, well, why aren't we, just walking to the bathroom and you can't catch someone with a cigarette anymore. It's not ashes all over the place. There's not holes in your, clothes and smoky hair and yellow fingernails and the breath. Well, that's exactly what's enticing the kids. It's that the flavors are grape and whipped cream and now Dorito and creme brulee, and the most popular is mango. It's not the old classic, and they do make it in Virginia tobacco for the classic people who still like the taste of cigarettes. So it's not as easy to detect. We have just coincidentally walked in on some kids with the vaping device. I should have brought one. That just looks like a little computer zip drive, if anyone has seen one of the e-cigarette devices, which is now the most popular. They're black, they're thin, you can charge them in your computer. You can put it goes right into a USB port. And the little flavor pods come in a little clear plastic. We find them on the floor, falling out of lockers, in the parking lot, the different flavor packets. So we have, in the last few months, had about 15, 18, 19 kids that we have found, walked in the bathroom or, gave it up and whatnot. And in the handbook, we do have consequences. It is part of our handbook. I don't do disciplinary action. That's not part of my job description, but I do counseling and talking to the kids and things around it a little bit with the administrative team that carries on the handbook consequence. But so I got a hold of a woman, Joyce Brewer, who talks to adults and parents. She doesn't address the students, but she goes around the county. She's part of a health coalition, and she came to our school last Tuesday night. I invited her to come. I worked with the principals and administration, and we had her come in for a parent informational night, because some parents, shockingly, along with kids, education is power, and not a lot of people are just educated on it, because it smells and looks and tastes and blah, 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 so harmless. Parents and students and some teachers, think it's not as harmless as cigarettes, which is not the case. So parents weren't as worried about it as, alcohol, drugs, and tobacco. So they weren't as concerned with their kids having them. So we called Joyce and said, this is huge. Parents are, saying, okay, just call me so I can get it back. Let me know when I can come pick it up for my daughter. And they're coming in, taking them back. If they call $50, they want them back to get back to their daughter after they carry on their suspension from school. So we said, this is awful. We care about our kids. So we had Joyce come in, and we have 702 kids in our school that we worry about, and it's going down to the 5th grade. That's the youngest we've had incident with the vaping. 5th through 12th is our target audience, and studies have shown that you start educating the kids at 9 years old with smoking and vaping and juuling and this stuff. That's when it starts to, we start to educate these kids. So we had her come in and speak to parents, and we had about maybe 8 to 10 parents come in to the library, which, whether it's 1 or 100, it's still someone. And she had a wonderful slideshow. She brought in some of her things. We had administrators, we had school committee members, we had parents, we had some teachers. I was there, and she did a wonderful, about an hour presentation. That's her presentation. I listened to it at an in-service I just did through school that they sent me to for professional development day at Berkshire Community College. I've heard it another time. So this is my 3rd round with her, and it's very informative for anyone. Her name is Joyce Brewer. So she came to us on Tuesday for parents, and then I went a step further, and one of her friends and man that she coordinates with, Mike Monty from the Breen Center, he has a team that, and this is all free to our school, this is no cost to our school. He has a team of educators and trainers that we are having come into Mount Everett the last week of November. He's doing a 3-day training with our students, 5th through 12th grade, and his team is coming in. And typically in the past you have 300 kids not in the TAC pack, and someone way up on stage just doing like an hour lecture. You lose the kids after about 8 minutes. They've got the earbuds in, they're sitting with their friends, and you just kind of lose them, and it's like the Charlie Brown voice on the stage, and we do the survey in the end, and they don't know who was talking, what they were talking about, and they could care less. So Mike Monty said through their research and surveying, now what they do is they use classrooms, they take it down to a very small, probably a classroom amount, I think, between 15 and 20 students, and we are going to curtail the schedule with the principals and admin. They're going to work the schedule. So he is going to use a curriculum. It's a 3-day curriculum with his team, and it's PowerPoint, interactive, half lecture, half PowerPoint, small classroom, and it's going to be like it's a rotation with his team, and he's going to cover every 5th, 6th, 7th through 12th grader with this curriculum. And he said it's interactive, the kids love it, they get a dialogue going with this young, dynamic, educated team from the Breen Center, and it's like classrooms of maybe 15 to 20 students, and it's colorful and interesting, this PowerPoint presentation, and it's short. It's not like a 3-hour lecture, next slide, 75 slide thing, and we're going to rotate the kids for 3 days, not the whole entire day. They're still going to have their curriculum and their academics, but we're going to cover them in those 3 days, this very powerful, rich curriculum that they have. And it's going to educate them, it's going to give them a little training, it's going to give them something to think about with this nicotine, juuling, vaping thing. And we told the parents about it at this information night, and I believe that parents will have the option, if they feel strongly enough, that they can have their kids opt out if they want. I don't believe any parent has voiced that. I don't think anyone would want to do that, but like anything else, if it's something they feel strongly about, their child doesn't have to take part in that. But that's the next step that we're taking in this, to try to help our kids here with this, because it's very dangerous, and our kids aren't taking it seriously because it's such a it's like
an attract.
It's practically candy, you know what I mean? And it's this fun new thing. And like cigarettes, I mean, right now there's so little research, and it's so new. It's only a few years old. In 20 years, when people's fingers are falling off, they're going to attribute it to vaping, because we don't know, with all the carcinogens and the chemicals in it, the chemicals that are in those flavor packs. There's just not enough research, and it'll be some crazy disease down the road. We won't know until it's too late. Like with cigarettes, I think Joyce said they used to prescribe cigarettes for morning sickness back in the 60s or something. We didn't know, you know what I mean, back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, when everyone was sitting around smoking as a social attractive thing, that it was going to lead to all the health problems that we have now.
Right.
But vaping already, they've the popcorn lung and the diseases that mimic COPD and all the things now already that we know is bad, but the kids aren't taking it seriously enough. It gives you the same stimulant high that the nicotine does, so they, the track team, they get that run quick, but then they have the crash, and it's, it mimics the cigarette thing, but, it doesn't have some of the negative, like I said, the smoky hair, the cigarette smell, the smoke, the burning a hole in your seat. It doesn't have all that cigarette stuff, so the kids aren't taking it as dangerous, but we're trying to communicate that it is, and it might even be 10 times worse. There's just not enough research out there, and who wants to put something in their body that doesn't even have, a fraction of research even attached to it. So those are the steps that we're taking. We just wanted to share that.
Are the kids smoking? Are you finding that the kids are smoking in the classrooms because it's hard to detect?
They are doing it in the classrooms. They're putting it in their sleeves. A lot of the kids, they have the hoodies and with the clothes nowadays and things like that. And the classrooms now aren't set up like they used to be. A lot of the classrooms are more relaxed. Some of them have couches, recline, things like that. They sit in circles. They don't sit, how they do. And they're more interactive, so it's easier. I mean, when you're sitting in the back and just reading, and sometimes in a small reading group with bean bags, the teacher wouldn't even see. And like I said, I mean, it's this thin. I mean, it's like this thin, and it looks like a zip. It looks like a pen, and they blow this. It's not smoke even. It's just a vapor, just into their clothing. And when I first started, I remember going into the bathroom, and I said to a group of girls, "Oh, whose lotion is it? It smelled like pineapple." I walked into the bathroom, I didn't know if it was a cleaning product from the night before, or someone putting on lip gloss. It just smelled like makeup. When I walked into the bathroom, and I started laughing. I'm the new SRO. Don't Trisha, what does she know? And I walked out, and a little girl was in there, and she said they were all vaping. What's that? I'm used to, other things on the street people trying to do, not girls vaping with mango vapor scented
It was
nicotine.
A learning curve for you as well.
So I'm like, great,
Yeah.
So it's just one more thing for us to work against. So that's what we're doing right now.
Joyce Brewer did actually send an email. I don't know
saw
if you
that.
in the
It
packet.
just saw that.
It did get in the packet. For the
Okay, great.
Yes, Renee did send it, or I'm sorry, it's addressed to Renee. Joyce sent Renee an email, which
Okay.
I will read.
Great.
But do you think that you would have much less children, or not children, but adolescents that were utilizing smoking if it wasn't for the vape? I mean, they're not that attracted to smoking cigarettes.
Smoking has definitely declined.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, everyone was so happy about that. I mean, they've definitely taken the education and all the negative effects of smoking, not just the athletes, everyone. They're very turned off on smoking. We've got that message, finally.
But they're now attracted to
So
vaping.
now, and the vaping companies, they loved that.
Oh, yeah.
They said, perfect, let's slam this right into them. This is great. They don't like smoking anymore.
And there's no derogatory effect that's known, so they can't say,
Right.
this is what's going to happen, just like you're saying. It's
Right.
new.
Right.
Do you feel like it would be less if the age was changed? If
I-
it was a 21 age?
I
In
think
the
it,
school
I think it
specifically.
would, because I mean, in high school you do have 18-year-olds, and some of the kids, I said, well, you're 14. How are you? Well, my brother, my sister.
Right, right.
I mean, you just like alcohol. I mean, it's not going to completely, but any deterrent is
Right.
something. Any decrease is something.
I know there was an incident, it may not have trickled down to you, but that Mr. Miller had informed us that there was a vape found in first grade.
First grade. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was notified of that.
Yeah. So you're not getting much pushback from parents then? The parents are on board with this, is that correct?
Yes, and I'm very glad about that, because we do get a lot of pushback.
Yeah.
And I think in my position too, just because of my position as a police officer, if I was a history teacher helping with this,
Right.
that's what I was afraid of, just because of my position. And no matter what my position in the school, I'd still volunteer to help with this. So I'm glad that they're on board and helping me with this. We're not getting any pushback. Yeah.
Awesome. Trisha has a good spectrum because she's also a registered nurse, so she knows the effects on both sides.
Yeah.
Anybody have any more questions for Trish?
Thanks, Trish.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trisha.
Thanks.
I'm gonna read the letter from Joyce. So she wrote, is this today she sent this?
Mm-hmm.
I am the Berkshire Tobacco Free Community Partnership Program Manager through the MTCP grant, and I am housed at Berkshire Area Health Education Center. I travel the county and provide information on tobacco cessation and youth prevention. I read in the paper and heard from Dennis Sears that there would be a discussion at the Board of Health meeting this evening on youth and vaping. I was planning on attending, but I am a bit concerned about the weather as I live in North County. I would like to offer to make a presentation to the Board of Health meeting at a later date if they would like more information in regards to the current explosion of youth vaping. I encourage boards to address the minimum age to 21 at this time. We know that 18-year-old youth are more likely to purchase tobacco products for underage youth than a 21-year-old. There is also a myriad of myths being voiced as truths in regards to just how safe vaping and its chemicals are, and that it is only water vapor. There are not enough studies to back up its safety, and it contains way more than water vapor. We do know that nicotine is addictive and that it is not good for the developing brain, which will continue to develop until the age of 25. I have attached an information sheet for your review and encourage all to visit getoutraged.org for more information. Thank you for passing this on, and I am available to present to the board at their convenience. So it's people are thinking that it's water vapor.
Yes.
Oh. Now I know that when it was first introduced, and I heard this a lot from salesmen in my own experience, was that it was supposed to be a tool that was going to help people
Quit
stop
smoking.
But in fact, sometimes it has more nicotine
Yes.
than cigarettes.
Yes, and they're advertised. Some of the devices are advertised to have zero nicotine,
Which is
and that's not the
true.
case.
Right.
The FDA has jumped all over that. There's companies being sued, and yeah.
So I know Dennis has attended some of our previous meetings.
Yes.
Dennis Sears is on the school committee.
He's the one that asked me to come tonight.
Right.
Yes.
And he kept asking if vape was included in the tobacco laws, which it is, but I could see where somebody would think not, because they're thinking it doesn't have nicotine
Right.
or it's water vapor.
Right.
But it is in fact in the, yes, Renee?
Dennis unfortunately had the school committee meeting that was
Oh.
last Thursday moved to tonight. So I've spoken with several of the school committee members, including Dennis, who wanted to be here tonight, to strongly encourage you to raise the age limit. Number one, it's the state age limit. And if this opportunity passes, it will be a period of time before that will kick in. Number two, I think we need to do everything we can to protect our children. And I hate to think of a child at 18 or 19, and I hate to think of an 18 or 19-year-old, since they can join the military, as being someone that we should necessarily protect. But their brains do continue to develop, and I'm not sure that we should be even having 18-year-olds be able to volunteer for the military. So I would flip that one around so that everyone should be 21, okay, before they can either smoke, drink, or join the military. It has been shown, though, recently, because the FDA has been all over this, that some of the nicotine content that's in these flavored pods is as much or more as in a pack of cigarettes. But you get the mango, or you get the bubble gum, or you get the whipped cream, or you get pina colada. You get these flavors that make it almost like it's candy. And that's what makes the device is really slim, it looks great, it's cool. So that's what's the problem with this, is smoking isn't cool anymore. But Juul is cool. And so I think you have to do, at least I would really urge you to do what you can to make it so that at least our places that sell tobacco products are doing everything they can, and I know they do a good job here in town, are doing what they can to stop the sale of these items below 21, so they do not get into anyone's hands. And I know there's a very concerted effort going on in schools, and Trish, I compliment you for your leadership on this, to really make this a focus of discussion. Kids getting hooked on nicotine, even at 5th grade, this is frightening, because they will go to cigarettes. Now, when this law was written in 2015, the Board of Health took action in 2015. Vaping was included. At that time, it was I mean, you remember, Sarah, we weren't even sure exactly, we put it in, but we weren't.
E-cigarettes were very new then.
It was very new, and just in that brief period of time, it has exploded, so that so many kids are into this. And if vaping does help someone who is a cigarette smoker change above the age of 21, they still have every right to do that. It's just really keeping it out of the hands of our kids.
Right.
And what Tricia has conveyed and what we've seen is this is an epidemic. It's a health epidemic. And whether it will continue or not, I think, at least in Sheffield, and they can maybe go buy it someplace else, but many of the places we saw years ago, Egerman went to 21, the state's going to 21, so I really encourage you to just, you don't see anyone here objecting to it, so I really encourage you to take that action before the end of the year and make it 21.
On December 31st, they're removing them from all pharmacies.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can't. which
And
makes sense.
if members of the school committee were here tonight, I know Dennis really wanted me to say something.
Yeah.
Bonnie Silvers wanted me to say something.
Yeah.
They're taking this very seriously.
Well, I think if we change the age, it helps keep it out of the hands of 18 and 19-year-olds that are in your hallways, which is affecting your younger children. I mean,
Yes.
my daughter's in first grade, and they have
Must be
vape pens in
frightening.
first
Yeah.
grades.
Yeah.
First grade.
And then they start passing it.
Well, that's exactly what happened, was it's being shared amongst children, and I'm sure Tricia has seen that it's being shared amongst children because those kids are allowed to have it because it's legal for them. There's 18 and 19-year-olds in those
Yeah.
hallways.
And what concerns me is that if you don't take this action, what are you, as the adults in the room, saying about this?
Right. I do have a printout that's current for this year up to the end of effective 12/31/18, that there's 182 municipalities in the state of Massachusetts that have elected to change the age themselves, and 95% of Berkshire County has already changed the age, including Egremont and some of the small towns. Also on here is the whole United States, so there's also New York State, which is bordering us, and I know Nassau County and Albany County are close to us, so, and Hartford County in Connecticut. So a lot of our neighboring states and towns have already done it. The misconception is that the state is changing it for December 31st, which is partially correct. They are doing it, but we need to adapt the law to be able to enforce it for our 18 to 21-year-olds. Otherwise, we won't be able to change the age for 3 more years when the state goes into full effect. Right.
What help does the board need to be able to do this in a timely manner within the next month?
We have to pass it today to be able to.
They have their total control to do it.
Okay.
They don't have to go anywhere else, it's right there.
Right, so what happened was we conducted 2 meetings already, and our board decided that we wanted to hear from the community, so we had to have a public hearing so that we could hear from the community how everybody felt. In my personal speakings to people in the community, I have not heard anybody opposing it as of yet. We do have 2 letters that came to the board today from local retailers, which I will share. First, this is from Susan Silk. Dear Sheffield Board of Health, as owner and operator of Silk's Variety Store in Sheffield, I am in support of the regulations surrounding the change in minimum age of tobacco sales to 21. At my store, we ID for all sales. I support adopting the state legislation and changing the age for the coming year 2019. Susan Silk, Silk's Variety, 107 Main Street, Sheffield. This one is from Anthony Galata, who is my father. Dear Sheffield Board of Health, as of January 1st, 2019, Galata's Mobile will be electing to enforce minimum age of 21 for all tobacco product sales. We will make this change in accordance with the state of Massachusetts' new provisions. We already practice the procedure of scanning all IDs in our store. Thank you, Anthony Galata, Galata Brothers Incorporated, 147 Main Street. So as retailers, they do have the right to do it themselves. And I know Susan is herself getting a scanner to utilize scanning all IDs. So we only have 2 other retailers in town, is Dollar General and the Blue Door. I'm not sure what they're doing, but I know that Dollar General is, at least our Dollar General is IDing everybody as well and aware of the vaping situation. So does anybody have anything else from the board?
There's one more letter.
Oh, there is? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh wow, this is a long one. This is from Bonnie Silvers. Should I read this whole one? Dear members of the Sheffield Board of Health, I am writing in strong support of any action to be taken to raise the age for legal purchase of e-cigarettes and all vaping materials from 18 to 21. I write not only as a citizen of Sheffield, but as an elected member of the school committee of the Southern Berkshire Regional School District. However, I am speaking only for myself and not on behalf of the school committee. Having heard a presentation given to parents by representatives of Get Outraged, my concern relative to vaping have been raised to a whole new level. I am particularly concerned about the long-range damage to lungs caused by inhaling the nicotine-laden oils, leading to popcorn lungs that are less efficient and therefore impacting the healing process when a person is sick or injured. The lung capacity of student athletes is reduced and the oils clog arteries. One of the scariest bits of information I learned is the unanticipated impact of vaping on others living in the home of a person using this nicotine delivery system. Let's say a student is home alone and vaping. He or she stops before any adult returns home. The nicotine-laden oils remain on the furniture, carpets, and everywhere else. Imagine a toddler crawling around. The toddler is taking in the nicotine even if he or she is not licking hands. The oils are sticking to the surroundings and anyone touching these objects is inadvertently picking up nicotine. There is yet another aspect to having young people readily able to purchase these vaping materials, the challenge of being invincible. Students love to play the game of seeing if they can get a hit while the teacher's back is turned around on the board. They love to see what they can smoke on a school bus, in the bathroom or cafeteria, or before or after school while riding in someone's car. Unfortunately, it remains the latest example of cool teenage behavior. Anything we in Sheffield can do to postpone the legal acquisition of e-cigarettes and other vaping materials is critical to the well-being of all of our citizenry. Thank you for consideration of my thoughts. Sincerely, Bonnie Silvers. That's kind of what Trisha was saying, is the kids are utilizing it too as a game, and it's a legal game. Does anybody have anything else to share? No. So I'm gonna make a motion to, I did attach, Renee and I went over what we would be changing in our law, and I'm gonna make a motion to adapt and change, the 3 bullets of changing our current tobacco regulations, to change the age to 21 and amend our bylaws. So it's in section 4.1. 4.1.2, we would be deleting other than a minor's parent or legal guardian, because that's stating that a parent or legal guardian may purchase tobacco products for their child that's under the age of 18. We would delete that part if adapted and change the age in 4.1.3 and 4.1.4 to 20 and 4.1.2 to 21 years of age instead of 18. So I'm making a motion to adapt this as of December 31st, going into 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so
Thank you so much.
thank you, everybody. Tricia, thank you very much for your information. So hopefully you'll see a change in school as of the first of the year. And we will share this information with school.
Yeah, no one's supposed to know.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
You're welcome.